Nice. Let's go. All right. So here's our Sunday update. Jackson MHP. All exciting stuff happening, guys. Well, we had a busy week. It's the end of the month, so we were just trying to wrap up some outstanding items. Well, state of Michigan is continuing the moratorium on any late notices. Like, we cannot do any of that. So, and while we cannot do any late notices, we still have our park management following up with tenants, because that no one is mandating us to stop. So we're just going to continue working with tenants, making sure collections are still happening, right? And talking about the collection and park rules, Nick, if you want to just talk about our efforts on maintaining those.
Yeah, so it's very important. One of the issues we're dealing with is, we're doing a great job in filling the lots. So what we foresee having a problem is parking, right? So you got to account for that when you infill lots. You got to make sure that the parking spaces are there for the residents, and also make sure this is there for the new residents. So what we're trying to cut down for is unauthorized vehicles in the park. And so what we did was we made sure that every park resident had a permit with a permit number, and of the make and model of the license plate of their car is tied to that permit number in Rent Manager. So we had our park manager and assistant park manager go through every single resident, making sure they have a permit, and then issue permits for the people that didn't have a permit. It also controls the residents who basically have more than 2 cars, right? So now we're charging them $25 or X amount per the third car, and we cap it at 3. For people with oversized vehicles, we also charge as well. So that's an extra income that we could charge for. More importantly, we want to make sure those vehicles are controlled, not in the front of the park that may kind of block, emergency access vehicles, but put them at the rear of the park in our overflow parking. A second thing it does, it protects us from unauthorized guests, right? Unauthorized occupants, right? So most specifically, that's the way to monitor our park, to make sure that the people that are staying there overnight are supposed to be the ones that are tied to the residency of that home, and essentially in the lease, right? We found that one resident was staying there consistently and was not supposed to, so we issued them a violation for parking unauthorized vehicle, and we issued them a unauthorized occupant violation as well. And so we noticed that person has been staying there since they moved in, and this person is had kind of a background that was questionable, and so we're kind of doing our efforts to get them out of there. So we are seeking legal advice, but we are kind of laying the groundwork, right? Violation notices, make sure it's documented, and then of course there's a violation notice for parking, and there's a violation notice for unauthorized occupancy, and then we're going to go ahead and start towing the vehicle come Monday if they're still there. Right. Yeah. So that's one avenue of getting unauthorized vehicles there, is that we posted all around the park, the towing, and we gave notices for the last week saying, if you're not authorized to be here with your vehicle, we need you guys to get authorized and get a permit for the park. Yeah. Right. But so that's one way we're cracking down in rules.
But what I like, how you found the way to echo. But I like how you found a way to check on the guests or tenants being actually registered in the park. You said, okay, so how can you just explain this a little bit?
Yeah, so essentially, one of our park managers essentially noticed that there was a person that was there that wasn't supposed to be there, right? So we have 2 park managers in the park. One of them is kind of perfect because they're both at different sides of the park, and they noticed that this person wasn't supposed to be there. And this person actually had a verbal altercation with another resident, so that kind of put him on our radar. And we went ahead and checked our lease, and that person wasn't supposed to be there. So he kind of snuck in there. Now, it's his boyfriend of the resident, right? And so had the female, who is actually our resident, had he put him on the lease to begin with, we probably wouldn't approve them, because from what we hear, he has a background, right? A felony background. So essentially, we're asking them to basically say, okay, if you want to add somebody, we need to do a background check for this person. So which we don't think she's going to pursue, because they're aware that he has a shady background. So
Mm-hmm.
essentially we're trying to get rid of him, and the best way to get rid of him is parking, right? Because he's not going to go there with that car,
Yeah.
right? So that's one way we're doing it. So again, having eyes and ears in the park, park managers living there is huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the one who notified that this person is not supposed to be there.
Yep. Great point. Great
Right.
point.
I don't know if I answered your question, Katerina, if you want to expand on that. But
No, that's
feel free.
perfect.
Yeah.
Matt, what you got there?
Yeah. So as far as, sorry, I'm getting the same echo, I think. So as far as what I'm doing this week, we've got another kind of resident issue where, a guy bought the home prior to our ownership, and he's not the easiest guy to get along with, right? I think he's kind of creating a ruckus within the park in a lot of cases. Just somebody who has a lot of issues with many of the other residents, and he does pay on time. So we're kind of in the process of buying the home from him, probably for more than it's actually worth, but it's worth it to us just to make sure that we kind of get rid of that problem, right? And I think it's something you see, you run into a lot of times when owning a park. A lot of times people will owners will let these people stay in the park because they pay on time, right? But really, you need to look at it as, hey, if this person is upsetting the nature of the park, upsetting a lot of the residents, these people, everybody around this person, may end up moving out, right?
That's right.
And so, it's looking at it and looking at, okay, does a person pay on time? That's one aspect of kind of enforcing a community, right? Or kind of bringing the community up to a certain standard. That's one aspect, right? It should also be, are they neighborly, things like that. That's what's going to create a community.
That's right.
So, so I think in the end, it'll be a win-win. He's probably getting more than the house is worth. And we get to choose the next neighbor coming in, and we'll probably be a better neighbor to the other residents. So that's what we're working on.
Yeah, no, that's great. And I like the terms that you outlined, how you're going to go about it, because as you mentioned, he is a harder to deal resident. But I like that the terms you established with him are very firm. So it has to go both ways. We pay you extra, and we realize we are, but there are no negotiables that has to happen before you get your ask.
Yeah.
Could you just touch upon that just a little bit, like the terms, like how it needs to happen, so it would.
Oh yeah. So we, the three of us kind of talked about this, and I did get some advice from Nick as well. Specifically to just say, we basically need to have all this stuff out of the home, and then we basically, get the title, keys, give him the cash, and then we're kind of done. He's out, right? So he's not in the park anymore, right? It just makes it easier. So those are pretty much the terms.
Yeah, no, that's great. So just kind of making sure, you got your money and you're out right away, so we can keep it moving. And just the last thing I will just mention, once we enforcing the rules, doing everything that good operators are supposed to be doing, right, by the book and all. One really neat thing I heard and I saw actually this week, I shared with you guys, from a seasoned, very experienced park operator who actually built their own park from the ground up.
Wow.
In Georgia, Russell, Georgia. That's David and Judy Roden. So they have amazing. They built just a beautiful model community, and they also created a Facebook. Okay, they also created a Facebook community for their park, and that's been working really, really nice in terms of people who are getting engaged and also helping each other out with some advice, and also organizing, providing, maybe helping with some food to the neighbors, and also shopping for neighbors, and which is really neat. And there was a book exchange going on.
Wow.
So that was just really neat. And as we noticing more and more that we have actually younger population moving into our community, that was a thought that we could ask our assistant manager, who is in the also younger age category herself, that it might be a great task for her to do, is to be a moderator of the Facebook community that we set up for our residents. And so that was a thought, and we'll see how it goes this week, how this whole project
Awesome.
develops.
That's great.
Yeah, so that's what we have going on, and we'll keep you guys posted.